Is your magic meter running low? Well, we've got a cure for you. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and welcome to the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by LaughingPlace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on August 25th, 2021, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. The end of free FastPasses at domestic Disney theme parks, the permanent closure of the NBA experience at Disney Springs, a new premiere date for Cirque du Soleil's Drawn to Life, and more. It's all coming your way right after this. Whether it's hats, beanies, berets, pins, jewelry, patches, scarves, stickers, tote bags, of course shirts, and so much more, you can find all of this magically inspired apparel over at Who's It's and What's It's. If it's been a while since you've checked out Who's It's and What's It's, now is the time, as they've added a bunch of new Disney-inspired merchandise recently. And Disney Coast to Coast listeners save 15% simply by using code DCTC when checking out. So go ahead and click on the link in this episode's description, and don't forget to use code DCTC at checkout and save 15% on anything and everything you purchase.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
Although the Magic Kingdom is currently hosting its new Disney After Hours Boo Bash events without many of the signature Halloween entertainment guests are familiar with, it looks as though the upcoming Disney Very Merriest After Hours will be a different story. Disney has announced that Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas-Time Parade and Minnie's Wonderful Christmas-Time Fireworks will both perform during the hard-ticketed events. However, it should be noted that tickets for Disney Very Merriest After Hours range from $169 to $229 for select November and December nights, and fetch $249 on December 19th and 21st, whereas Boo Bash tickets sold for between $129 to $169, which seemed bad enough. I guess prices rise when overpriced events sell out quickly. Tickets for Disney Very Merriest After Hours at Walt Disney World are now on sale. A long-awaited dining experience is finally coming to Epcot. According to Disney Imagineer Zach Ridley, Space 220 will be launching in mid-September. The location will transport guests 220 miles above the Earth, allowing them to enjoy panoramic views of our home planet as they dine. Currently, no firm opening date or booking information for Space 220 has been announced, but stay tuned for more updates in the coming days and weeks. As the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World draws nearer, the resort has continued to unveil the list of characters that will be featured in their Fab 50 statue collection. Some recent reveals include such obvious picks as Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Dumbo, and Figment, along with some more surprising selections such as Abu, Jack and Gus, Dante, and Joe Gardner from Soul, among many others. These various statues will be found across all 4 Walt Disney World theme parks starting on October 1st. With many more characters to be announced, keep an eye on Disney's various social media accounts to catch them all. As previously announced, the Wave of American Flavors at Disney's Contemporary Resort will be closing to make way for a new dining location. Now it looks as though that new concept will be called Steakhouse 71, as teased in a Disney Parks tweet. Ironically, the reveal of Steakhouse 71 comes on the heels of the Disneyland Resort announcing they have no plans to reopen Steakhouse 55 at the Disneyland Hotel. After multiple delays, Cirque du Soleil's Drawn to Life has a new opening date set. The new show is now set to premiere at Disney Springs on November 18th. Tickets are now on sale to the general public, with prices starting at $85 per adult and $63.75 for children 3 to 11. For more information and to book your seat for Drawn to Life, visit disneysprings.com/Cirque. That's CIRQUE. Over at the Disneyland Resort, a new location will be putting the spa back in Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. Tenaya Stone Spa will officially open on September 16th and feature 8 treatment rooms, 2 for couples massage, 4 manicure-pedicure chairs, a relaxation lounge, men's and women's changing rooms, and a retail boutique. The new venue, which was designed by Disney Imagineers, takes inspiration from the spirit of nature and California heritage. Disneyland Resort hotel guests can now make advanced reservations for the Tenaya Stone Spa, while non-hotel guest reservations will be available at a later date. As part of the multi-year Ultimate Princess celebration, the Walt Disney Company is celebrating World Princess Week starting August 23rd. This special week will include new product reveals, special digital content, themed food and beverage offerings at select locations across the Disney parks, and more. To kick things off, on Monday, Epcot opened its new Tiana-themed playground. Additionally, Disney released new concept art for the upcoming Princess and the Frog attraction that will be replacing Splash Mountain at Magic Kingdom and Disneyland down the road. World Princess Week will continue through August 29th, while the Ultimate Princess celebration will roll out into 2022. A Disney fan-favorite film is getting a 4K Ultra HD release for the first time. Who Framed Roger Rabbit will be released this December, featuring HDR picture quality and Dolby Atmos audio. What's more, a Best Buy exclusive Ultimate Collector's Edition, including a limited edition steelbook, will also be offered on that day. Of course, the release will include plenty of bonus features such as commentary, deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes featurettes, and more. You can pick up Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 4K Ultra HD when it hits store shelves on December 7th. In other physical media news, Disney's film Jungle Cruise has set a course toward home release. The movie starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt will be available for digital download on August 31st, followed by a DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD physical release on November 18th. The adventure comedy is also available now on Disney Plus via Premier Access and will be available to all Disney Plus subscribers on November 12th. Of course, you can also catch the film now playing in theaters everywhere. If you went to check out Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus upon its initial debut, you may have been surprised to see that only 5 episodes premiered instead of the originally announced 10. Well, the good news is that the second set of episodes have now arrived on Disney Plus. These latest installments will look at the Disney castles, the Disneyland Hotel, It's a Small World, trains, trams, and monorails, and the Hall of Presidents. Narrated by Paget Brewster, Behind the Attraction is a quirky and quick-paced series that looks at the history of some of Disney's most iconic rides and more. You can catch all 10 episodes of the show now streaming on Disney Plus. Disney Plus has announced a release date for its new reboot of the classic Home Alone film franchise. Home Sweet Home Alone will debut on November 12th, which will also mark Disney Plus Day. This new film will follow Max Mercer, who has been left behind while his family is in Japan for the holidays. Directed by Dan Mazer, the comedy will star Ellie Kemper, Rob Delaney, Archie Yates, Aisling Bea, Kenan Thompson, Tim Simons, and more. Plus, Devin Rattray, who played Buzz in the original films, will also appear in this incarnation. So be sure to check out Home Sweet Home Alone this Disney Plus Day. Fans of the Golden Girls will soon get the chance to see their favorite foursome on the big screen. ABC Signature and Fathom Events have announced Forever Golden, a celebration of the Golden Girls, featuring screenings of several fan-favorite episodes of the timeless series. These special events will be held at select theaters on September 14th and September 21st. To find locations near you and to purchase tickets, be sure to visit fathomevents.com. And for more Golden Girls fun, check out my recent Primetime at the Parks episode with Aaron Wallace, DCTC episode number 827. The first Los Angeles home of Walt and Roy Disney, and the one where Walt's animation studio originated, is set to be renovated and designated a Los Angeles Historical Monument. Located at 4406 West Kingswell Avenue, the home is where Walt moved from Kansas City in August 1923, living with his Aunt Charlotte and Uncle Robert. It also included a backyard shed where Walt allegedly finished work on the Alice comedies. According to a sign at the location, the rehabilitation of the bungalow will restore the exterior to a 1920s period-appropriate color palette, among many other projects. It's always great to see Walt Disney history kept alive, and I'm extremely happy that the new owners decided not to demolish it as were the original plans. And now it's time to bring back Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. Howdy, Kyle.
Hey, Jeff.
Reporting live from...
right near Walt Disney World.
Yes, and this is like your first time at the parks in a very long time, certainly since before COVID.
The last time I was in a Disney park was with you in January of 2020 for the Disney California Adventure Lunar New Year.
That was a long time ago.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, well, we will get to your little adventure, but first, we got some news to talk about. And let's just start with it. Disney Genie is coming to Disneyland and Walt Disney World this fall. Now, of course, I remember being in the room when this was first mentioned at the D23 Expo in 2019, and they didn't give us much info, but I gotta be honest, even back then, I was like, this seems like something we don't need, but what the heck, it's here. Now, I will say, there's been a lot of talk about this and all the added costs and stuff, but at the base of this is a complimentary feature that'll help Disney park guests plan their day by providing personalized itineraries, projected future wait times, and more inside of the Disneyland app and My Disney Experience app at Walt Disney World. So let's just focus on kind of like the free stuff that's part of this to start things off. First of all,
the Trojan horse, as it were.
There we go. So there was an explainer video that Disney Parks blog released, and from what I've seen / heard, this is the most disliked video that they've ever released. That's not good. I'm sure the marketing people are not happy about that, but I don't know. What do you think of this? For me, the questions that went through my mind is like, are the parks getting too high tech? Are they shoving out the older guests? Because listen, like, I don't consider myself to be that old yet. And even I'm like, this is kind of stressful, all of this. Like, I know they try to make it like a short, easy 2.5-minute video, but like, it ain't that easy in my mind. Or is it just me?
It might be just you. I think the dislike, I don't think it has anything to do with the Disney Genie proper itself thing. It has to do with the plus and the other thing that we'll get to. So let me get that out of the way. As far as Disney Genie itself, like I said, I call it a Trojan horse because they said, we're going to be announcing more stuff about Disney Genie. And that was such a small part of what the announcement was that it feels like inconsequential. I don't know if it's going to be that complicated. It sounds like a lot of other tools that are already out there.
Yeah, isn't this essentially touring plans?
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but no, I would, if I were touring plans, I'd be pretty upset.
Heck, Len has been on the show before, and I'm sure, he's seen this. He's a smart guy. I'm sure he's seen this coming from a mile away, and I'm sure he has a backup plan. And let's face it, I don't know how long touring plans has been around, but it's been a long time.
Long time.
So you can't really blame Disney for the fact, if they're seeing people pay for this service, they're like, well, we should offer it and then lure them into this other thing that will be an additional cost and essentially try and put touring plans out of business. Like I said, I think that Len and the team over there are way smarter than that, and that won't affect them, as much as Disney might want it to. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. To me, it's like a lack of spontaneity in the parks. I don't know. And to me, it also feels kind of more about like Disney collecting data than it is actually wanting to help the guest. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the spontaneity because I would argue that they're actually, with the other offerings, trying to make it more spontaneous and prevent you from having to plan 60 days out from your vacation. But we'll get to that.
You mean the pay services?
Yeah, like you're not going to book FastPasses in advance anymore. You're going to book them the day of. And that's a huge change from the way Walt Disney World has worked for the past several years now.
That's a fair point. I will agree with you on that. I will say, as far as this free portion is concerned, the thing that I actually liked most is that there's a virtual assistant in there, assuming that it will be well-staffed and actually answer in a timely manner. I think that that's great. I think that's probably the thing I would use more than anything is the virtual assistant. Honestly, for a long time, I've been thinking about doing an episode of this podcast that is going to a Disney park without your phone and seeing what the experience is like, because that is something I used to, I would say, semi-frequently do, just because it's kind of nice to, I mean, back then it was just to really get rid of the real world. Don't answer texts, don't answer phone calls. And now that I've been sitting on that idea for a while, I'm like, gosh, can you even do a Disney Parks visit without a smart device? The answer, of course, is technically yes, but how much more difficult is it? Like, I feel like the parks are just full now of cast members helping people trying to figure out how to do crap. And I don't think that's a great guest experience personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you and I do Disney parks will probably be different. I think we probably could get through without a phone because we don't need to know the best times to go. We're just going to walk around the park, and if we see a good wait time, we're going to hop on the attraction. So I think it's a little bit different for, more seasoned guests. But for those who are visiting and want to make the most of it and don't really know where things are, like I feel like one of the mistakes people make is they want to do attractions. They're like, let's go to this and then we'll go to this, and don't realize that it's across the park and they'd be better off going to other attractions in the area. And so that's kind of what this is. And it's going to recommend like, oh, hey, you're near here. So if you want to get lunch, there's a place that has a mobile ordering. Maybe you can even mobile order before you get on this attraction. And by the time you get off, your food will be ready. Things like that.
Oh, I'm so over food mobile order. I can't even tell you. That was honestly my biggest frustration. The last time I went to Disneyland, all I wanted was an ice cream sandwich. I just wanted a quick snack, and there was like none to be found. You had to mobile order. I'm like, that is beyond frustrating to me. I don't like everything needing to be done on the phone. I don't like you said, I miss the let's just walk over there and grab something. Let's just walk into this ride. And I get you don't have to do it this way, although with the food mobile order, like due to the pandemic, it kind of has been something you have to do. And it's been frustrating, to be completely honest.
I will say, as much as I enjoy mobile ordering in general, both at Walt Disney World and Disneyland and elsewhere in the world, I do wish that Disney had more customization options. There's a lot of dishes where you do have customization and a lot more where you don't. And as a picky eater, or like our friend that we were at the park with this weekend is doing keto, and there's very surprisingly not a keto indication or a way to request to remove a bun or things like that seem like pretty obvious additions.
And on top of that, it's also very hard to get like the discounts you're due in mobile.
I don't have any discounts due to me, so I don't understand this.
Well, in the past, maybe they've fixed it, but in the past I've had that issue. So, listen, that's all the free stuff that comes with it. I guess some folks will enjoy it. Others, I honestly don't know if I would use it all that often, to be completely honest, but I guess it's there if you want it. I do feel bad for a couple going on their 50th anniversary to Walt Disney World who perhaps aren't versed in the world of smartphones. I do feel like they're being shut out.
I mean, it's been this way for a while, though. Like, you had to book your FastPasses so far in advance, at midnight or whatever crazy thing that it was. So, I don't know.
Screw the old people. That's what they're saying. All right. Let's move on to Disney Genie Plus, because we love pluses, don't we? And this gives you access to Lightning Lane and a couple of other things. So first of all, I found this a little confusing to begin with, because I was like, wait a sec, is it Lightning Lane or Disney Genie Plus? And I was like, oh, Disney Genie Plus has multiple things below it. But the main thing really is Lightning Lane, which will take the place of the current FastPass, FastPass Plus, and Disney Max Pass features, which will be discontinued. So these are essentially like e-ticket history at this point. The way we nostalgically look at e-tickets, that's what a FastPass is now, or soon to be, rather. And, this is $15 for Walt Disney World guests and $20 for Disneyland guests per visit. So this is a very smart way of getting Magic Key holders who may not spend a lot of money in the parks to potentially spend another $20 every single time they go to the parks. I mean, I voiced my opinion about Max Pass when that came along, and I hate it. I don't like this pay to book a Fast Pass system. I think this is horrible. I have nothing else to say other than I think it sucks.
And that's exactly what it is it's Max Pass. It is the same price as Max Pass was, but presumably will have a few fewer attractions because some of them will be set aside for the a la carte.
Yeah, but also let's not forget that Max Pass doubled in price within a year. Max Pass started at $10, quickly jumped to $15, and then to $20. So, I mean, that's pricey. I mean, family of four, that's $80 when you go to the park. That's like a meal. I don't know. It's insanity to me. I don't see myself using it unless I was, I guess, with somebody who was doing a one-day visit sort of thing, which is what they're counting on. But I think a lot of Magic Key holders will probably just put out the money. And once again, you vote with your wallet. So if you don't like this, don't get it, is what I would say about that.
And it'll be 15 at Walt Disney World. We don't know which attractions are part of it yet. There's said at least 15 at the Disneyland Resort and 40 attractions or so around at Walt Disney World. So,
yeah. And also as part of this Disney Genie Plus, we're also getting audio experiences. You're hearing it here first that Disney Coast to Coast will now be heard through Disney Genie Plus. Can you even imagine? No, I kid. They're going to have audio experiences though, and Disney PhotoPass Unlimited downloads and augmented reality lenses at Walt Disney World. Now, these are great. You know, I'm always like, these cost the company nothing, and also it's free advertising. The whole reason they give you free downloads is so that you'll post it on social media and make people want to visit. So to me, I'm like, we're kind of paying to advertise for you, is how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, if you think to only a few years ago and how much it cost for a single attraction photo download, you know, kind of an underrated perk if you look at it from that aspect. Because PhotoPass was $20 a download, or maybe not that high, but it was quite high just to download a photo back in the day.
Yeah, I have no concept of that because I never did it, because even when I get the free ones, it's pretty rare that I'll download a photo. I'm just not a photo guy, but I know there are many people out there who like that's their priority. When it comes to special events or hard ticket events, they'll spend the entire night in line to do character photos over anything else. So, you know, there's a lot of people who will enjoy it. And let's talk about the real problem. And that is pricing for individual Lightning Lane entries. Now, we don't know which attractions this is going to be for yet, but we do know that whatever attractions they're for, so mainly the big ones, they will not be available in the $15 or $20 Genie Plus thing. So that's a problem. But the price is going to vary depending on the park, the attraction, the date, and more. It's essentially the cut-the-line ticket, right? And this is so weird to me because the reason that ticket books were removed back in the day was because people didn't like feeling nickel and dimed. And research showed that people would rather pay a flat rate to enjoy the entire park. Yet here we are. Not only paying a flat rate, but paying on top of that. Absurd.
This is very similar to what we saw in Paris, and we kind of knew that this was coming. I think the most confusing part for me is all this nomenclature is unclear and unnecessarily convoluted. Like you mentioned Lightning Lane, and it's unclear. So Lightning Lane is the name of the queue. It's the new FastPass line. And then there have these individual Lightning Lane access. So people have just gotten to calling this Disney Plus or Disney Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. But I'm not sure that the a la carte product is called Lightning Lane. It's an unforced error on their part. It almost would have been better if my friend Josh was telling me, he's like, oh, they should have just embraced the ticket book thing, like at least have a little bit of nostalgia and made it these products like A, B, C, D, E, and then maybe it would have been a little bit more clear what to even call these things.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. When my new thing now, when Disney starts pulling this crap and they're like, oh, and now you're going to have to add on this, and now you're going to have to add on that, I take the money I was going to spend at Disney and I spend it somewhere else. The day that Genie Plus was announced, I bought myself an annual pass to Knott's Berry Farm. I was like, screw you. I'm not saying I'll never go to the Disney parks again, but there's going to be few and far between, and I'm spending far less money on purpose because, ladies and gentlemen, you vote with your wallet. So, I don't know. It's just gross to me. It's a huge middle finger, this whole... Essentially, I mean, let's face it, they haven't announced the attractions, but we know the cut the lines, the individual cut the line passes are going to be...
They've named a couple of them.
Did they say Rise of the Resistance?
It's unclear whether that's probably going to be one of them. That's what DeMauro made it sound like. But for sure, they've named Radiator Springs Racers and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train were two of the examples that they mentioned in the blog.
I'm curious if single rider lines will stick around.
I don't know. It seems like they would, just from an efficiency standpoint, because they fill a need. They're more for Disney's efficiency than they are for you.
But I wonder if it'll piss people off if, like, you know, I get in a single rider line, walk right on, and they just paid $20 for a Lightning Lane Plus.
It's still a crapshoot. It's the same thing as FastPass now.
Yeah, but that's free, so you get a little less angry. But I don't know. Frankly, it doesn't seem like Disney cares if people are angry these days, so it probably will stick around. Who knows? But yeah, this just feels like a big middle finger. Not a huge fan. I do love the Universal Orlando tweet that came out that day. Did you happen to see it?
I did, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, so Universal Orlando, if you do not follow them on Twitter, I highly suggest it. Literally, some of the greatest laughs I get in life come from this Twitter account. And the day the Genie Plus was announced, they tweeted, "You get 3 Universal wishes. What are they? Go." And I was like, yeah.
A Gate A pass.
Yeah, right. Listen, they've had it, but that's the thing. The Universal has always had it. It's a universal thing. Disney is supposed to be a trendsetter, not follow other companies. Like, ugh, I get it. Gate A is gross as well, but it's different to me. Granted, I've never paid for a Gate A. I never would pay for a Gate A. I can't stand it being in a Disney park. It's gross.
They should retheme it, though. Whatever they call it in Florida, they should call it a Universal Dobby so that you can have previously freed characters serving new.
I don't get whatever that Harry Potter reference
Dobby is a free elf, and Genie was freed in Aladdin.
Oh, I see. There we go. Well, in any case, that's happening. I'll be very curious. Folks, please call into the hotline and let me know, because I'll be curious to know what people think of this. I mean, the response has been horrible, has it not? Or am I just in this bubble of everybody hating
You're not
on it?
in a bubble. Well, I mean, we're both in the Disney Twitter bubble. I don't know what... People seem to be more confused than anything. We'll see. I guess it all depends on what this means for standby. Like we were saying with Paris.
Would you pay for it?
I can't think of a single attraction that I would need to do that badly. Like when we were talking about Paris, it was more of like, this is the last day of my trip, that I flew several hours for. And if I really want to do this particular attraction, then yeah, maybe it is worth €15. But I can't, having been to Disneyland and Walt Disney World so many times, I can't think of a current attraction that I'm like, yeah, I'll pay $20 to ride that right now. So it's a little bit different.
One thing I keep seeing people say, and I completely agree, is like, hey, if I'm paying $20 to get on your ride, it better be working properly. I better get the Indiana Jones boulder working properly. I better get every lighting and projection effect. Like, that's going to be a nightmare, I feel like, for guest services, is people paying for these experiences individually and not getting the full show. Like, I've been on Rise of the Resistance before where the animatronic of Kylo Ren doesn't work properly and I get the B show, which is a fine B show. But if I paid $20, you bet your butt I'd be like, hey, you best board me again and fix that thing.
Yeah, but again, I think you're overestimating the number of people who would be willing to pay for it or know enough about it to know that it's in B mode, but are also willing to pay to ride it. And I feel like those are separate things.
I don't disagree that the majority of people wouldn't know. The question is, are there enough that would know, especially at Disneyland? I feel like there are, that could make it turn into a complete nightmare for guest services. I would not want to work in Disney guest services right now. It must be miserable, would be my guess. Good luck if you are working in that position. But in any case, I could go on.
City Hall will just be a chat function. So.
I mean, that's why they have the what do they call it on just Disney Genie? They have the virtual assistant. So
they just give you more multiple experience lightning lanes or no strings.
Let's hope that Disney Genie Plus goes the way of NBA Experience. Oh, what about that segue? Boom, NBA Experience in Disney Springs will not reopen. Now, this opened on August 12th, 2019, and something to remember is, I know everybody's like, oh, okay, the NBA Experience replaced Disney Quest. Yes and no. They knocked down Disney Quest and built a brand new building for the NBA Experience. So this is even a much bigger deal than I think most people think. This is pretty bad. Now, it did close in early 2020 due to the pandemic, so it was open for far less than 1 year. I don't know what the investment was, but it had to be quite expensive to build a brand new building and facility. I mean, embarrassing is the word that I can think of.
Yeah, and it feels like one of those things that any Disney fan at the time could have told you wasn't going to work.
Yeah, here's the thing that's so interesting to me. Like, there's quite a few, and listen, I get it. I am not a sports guy, so I'm not the demographic they're trying to reach whatsoever. But there does always seem to be Disney wanting to have enough sports stuff so that, like, the dad or older brother going on a Disney vacation who isn't into the Disney magic thing has something that will draw them there. We've got, ESPN Zone, which I've never stepped foot on. There are many golf courses, which I think do pretty well. I'm like, did we really need another thing, an NBA experience? Like, I don't know anybody going to Walt Disney World even if you're a sports fan. I don't think the sports stuff is ever anybody's priority except for maybe golfing. I think they have great golf courses from what I hear.
Well, there's a wide world of sports, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean, how well does that do? I don't ever hear anybody talking about that.
I mean, it's not merely an attraction. It's more of a venue for it. It does well, but it's not an attraction. It's for hosting events for
so it's like a convention center that they're renting out. Yeah,
that's a good way good analogy. I will say one thing that's it seems like in hindsight maybe Disney was getting a little bit of cold feet along the way, because if you'll remember, they announced that there was supposed to be a NBA experience restaurant, and I believe that area turned into what is CityWorks instead. So I wonder if they're like, yeah, let's nix that part of it and sell that to something else. So the CityWorks is now going to stick around, even though the NBA part is gone. So I guess that's saving grace.
Yeah, now this did replace Disney Quest. I'm curious, what do you think is next? I mean, they're going to have to do something pretty quickly with this space, I would assume.
I think people kind of default to the old rumors when Virgin Megastore closed, because that was such a huge space. And so everyone's like, Apple Store. And you're like, no, I don't think they're going to do an Apple Store. I have no idea. I mean, I think they should do a holy moly themed, like, urban air adventure park meets mini golf thing. I think that would be awesome.
What I think they should do, and this is going to surprise quite a few people because I've talked crap about these before, is a really good selfie museum. So I have in the past, when Disneyland did their whole Mickey selfie thing in the old ESPN restaurant, I was like, hell no, I'll never pay for that. And I never did. Because, once again, I feel like those are just marketing tools. But I will say, as of late, I've actually gone to quite a few really good selfie museums that felt more like an experience than simply taking photos to post on social media. And if they did something that good at that level, I feel like that could do pretty well for Disney Springs. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get some sort of selfie museum sort of thing. One of the best ones I ever did was the Britney Spears one, where you got like an RFID wristband. In any case, the RFID wristband like activated stuff as you went through, and it was cool. And I did Madcap Motel here in LA was really cool. Like there are ways to do them really well that are worth paying money for, I feel like. And Disney can certainly do that. The question is, would they invest in it that way? I don't know.
If they want to win people back, what they need to do is not bring back Disney Quest, but make some sort of virtual experience where you can experience extinct attractions in like VR and AR and things like that.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised at all if it just became like a D23 Disney Archives museum. I think that's another thing that could do really well there. Like a permanent Disney Archives museum, I think could totally work and could do pretty well. I don't know. But, something needs to go down there. It's nice to see that end of Disney Springs being activated again with Cirque du Soleil and such. But, that big empty hole is going to be gross if it stays like that for too long.
So you're saying that the West End can rebound?
Was that a basketball joke?
Yeah, you get rebounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But Kyle, before we go, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Walt Disney World adventure? Because you did some things for like the first time, including Rise of the Resistance, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Happily Ever After you got in there before that shut down forever, and even a Disney After Hours Boo Bash, which was a big celebration because you folks over at Laughing Place hit 100,000 subscribers over on YouTube, so congratulations on that.
Mostly thanks to a fake raptor at Universal that people keep arguing whether or not it's real. So,
right.
Thanks to those people.
Fantastic. Well, what were some of the highlights of your trip? I mean, what did you think of Rise?
My wife and I both really enjoyed it. I hadn't watched any videos or anything of the experience. I did have a couple of specific effects ruined for me on Twitter. But overall, I had no idea where it was going. Like, I didn't know about all the different segments before you get to the main thing. I didn't know what the storyline was. Yeah, so I was very surprised at nearly every turn and really enjoyed it, and only had one, I guess the cannons weren't working 100% properly. Nothing that it didn't really affect me, but everything else was working. Got AMO'd Kylo on my first trip. So yeah, I was very excited to finally check that off. And I know that everyone that I was with had already done it and didn't realize that we hadn't before. So they were very much enjoying seeing our reaction to it, which is, you know, as fun for me as it is for them to watch that. So
That's awesome. And would you pay $20 to do it?
In the right mood, maybe, but I don't know. I've done it twice now, so now I feel like I'm getting past it. But
how was getting the boarding group? Was that frustrating for you, or was that
Let me
okay?
tell you this. Last night, our friend Ruben, we got into the park at 7 p.m., gained a boarding pass, and got on the ride not an hour later.
Because
Walt Disney World is dead this weekend.
Oh, interesting.
It was 20 minutes for Flight of Passage on Friday afternoon.
Is that because of COVID? You're just saying people are fleeing the state?
I couldn't speculate, but it was very empty. So yeah, 7 p.m. on a Sunday, we were able to get a Rise boarding pass, which started at 1, I think.
Alrighty, well, that's good for you. How about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway? What'd you think? Are you glad it replaced the Great Movie Ride?
Well, that's unfair.
Well, is it though? I mean, I think it's a genuine question. I mean, obviously they're two very different things, and you can say you like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but do you think it's, you know, okay to have replaced the Great Movie Ride?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like
this is
the Great
Kyle's
Movie Ride.
last appearance on Disney Coast to Coast.
No, I love the Great Movie Ride, but I think that this is probably more relevant. I think it's okay. So I'll say
animation area where the Star Wars launch bay is. That's more relevant. But continue.
I guess, but it's in a theater premiering a short. I don't know.
It's an animation building over there, an animation courtyard rather.
Okay.
Continue.
I thought it was really fun and clever. A lot of surprises, and I thought it did a good job. Like, obviously it's mostly screens, but the way that they're integrated with the settings I thought worked really well, and there's some impressive stuff, lots of surprises, lots of stuff to see. And I think it's funny riding these two rides that I've talked about, like the trackless ride system in other places, and how it still feels fresh over here because it hasn't been here very much, but it's Pooh's Honey Hunt opened forever ago in Tokyo now. So it's kind of funny to see it in different attractions. But no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not saying it's better than Great Movie Ride, but like Footlight Parade, dude. Like, I don't know what you want.
I wanted an update of the Great Movie Ride. That's what I want. How about, I'm so happy you finally got to see Happily Ever After, because that is a fantastic fireworks show. And as we know, possibly gone forever, at least, you know, quote unquote, gone forever. So, I mean, you'd seen video of that, I assume.
Not really. I had heard it. Like, I've walked through Magic Kingdom while it was happening, but never watched it properly. So this time I watched it properly, which is actually much more enjoyable because...
No kidding, really?
Enjoyable because the fireworks don't feel nearly as loud from watching in front of the castle as when you're walking through Fantasyland.
Oh yeah, and you're a jumpy person, so fireworks probably scare you.
I mean, I know that they're coming, but they feel loud, and it feels like they echo off of the concrete and stuff. So it was nice watching it in front of it. I appreciated that there were some songs and some characters featured that aren't the same ones you get every time. Mm-hmm. And as far as like the same 10 songs that you do get, those were there, but limited. They weren't like full songs like they are in World of Color and things like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it and glad that I saw it. Those projections, I'm impressed. I know people are kind of roll their eyes at projection mapping now because Disney's kind of taken that and made that their thing instead of fireworks. But it's so cool when it first lights up. Like, you don't even know if the castle is actually there because it's all just completely covered. You could be fooled into believing that it's going to actually disappear.
Yeah, it's a good canvas for projection mapping for sure. And finally, we got to talk about your Disney After Hours Boo Bash. How was that for you? I know you in the past have said that you would be, I mean, I know you didn't pay for this one, but you would be willing based on past Disney After Hours experiences. So what did you think, and how Halloween-y did it feel with all of the pieces missing?
I will say not very Halloween-y.
Okay.
I was with a group of people from Laughing Place, and we knew we were going to be doing a bunch of attractions the next day, so that wasn't our focus. But if we wanted to do attractions, the crowds were definitely way, way, way lighter than they were for previous, like, Not So Scaries and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to do attractions, you definitely had the ability to. We watched some of the cavalcades, which there was a time where there were pretty much 3 in a row with some long breaks. It's like, well, at this point, why didn't you just do a parade? But it was nice to hear that music. You know, you had some Cadaver Dans, you had Chip and Dale in their outfits dancing the whole time, which was nearly as entertaining as the cavalcades themselves. But to hear those sections of Booty You was, you know, it was August 20th, so it's really hard to get into like Halloween season. But I definitely appreciated hearing those songs. And, you know, I have to say, being able to go up and get a free soda or a water or an ice cream and a popcorn, in addition to trick-or-treating, like, it was nice to be able to be like, I'm thirsty, let me just go grab a drink. Or, yeah, sure, I'll have some popcorn. It's kind of underrated, I'll say.
Well, you know, pretty soon, with an additional $97, you can get Disney Genie Plus Plus that allows you to get free popcorn, ice cream, and sodas throughout the day.
I'm sure.
You going to get that? 97? It's a pretty good deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could drink, that's only like 20 waters.
You're going to drink 20. You'll spend half your day in the restroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hot here, though, Jeff. Oh, my God. I hate Florida weather, like, so much.
Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Avoid it in the summer.
I have to tell you a story. I have not worn shorts in my adult life, but on Friday afternoon when we first got here, I was waiting for my wife and my friends outside of Dinosaur, and I texted my friend and I said, yeah, I'm going to need some shorts. And he went to his place of business where he gets a discount and purchased me a pair of shorts, and I've been wearing them for the rest of my trip. So I've gotten over my short fear because of how awful Florida is.
You have a shorts fear?
I don't know. I always felt awkward in them. I don't like my Edward Cullen legs and
Edward Cullen legs. What are they, just white?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. You're hilarious. I have shorts on right now, and I'm sitting in air conditioning. So there we go. You're too funny. Well, I'm glad you had a great trip. I'm glad you got to experience a lot of things for the first time. How did it feel to just be back in a park? I mean, did you have that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm back in a Disney park? Or did it feel just normal again?
It was so there's a lot of things that have changed about Walt Disney World since I've been here. When we walked up to Animal Kingdom on our first day, we're like, wait, where's the bag check? What's happening? I'm like, oh yeah, these new machines. And, you know, by instinct, I put my finger on the scanner. They're like, no scanning. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel that weird. It wasn't until, you know, we got to experience the things that I haven't done before. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, I mean, also now we're so used to wearing masks that when it comes to wearing a mask, when you step inside, like, I've got that down pat. So
when the mask thing first started, not just Disney, like even at a Target or something, I got into this weird, like, I guess this natural thing of like, I'd put on the mask when I get out of my car, walk to the store, and then when I would get in the store, I would instinctively want to go to take off the mask as if it were a hat or something. And then I'd be like, oh, wait a sec, the whole purpose is to have this thing on indoors. So I actually had to like train myself to do it properly for a little bit, but I got there. I'm a pro at it now. Anyway, before I let you go, curious, have you seen Free Guy?
I haven't. And I've been told I need to, and my friend is trying to protect me from spoilers.
Okay, well, it's enjoyable. You know, one thing I'm going to say, first of all, I was like, wow, a lot of this looks familiar. And I was like, oh, it's shot in Boston. So that's why it looks very familiar to me. But I just want to say, you know, it's kind of interesting that this was shot very soon after Disney bought Fox, because there are some things in the film that you're like, oh, Disney synergy. And you're like, all righty, interesting. So I'll leave it at that for you. It's interesting. And of course, you know, it did bonkers business at the box office, which means we got a sequel announcement, didn't we? I think we already got a sequel announcement.
I mean, it came from Ryan Reynolds, and so I'm always like a little suspicious of it. But yeah, he says that Disney wants a sequel.
Alrighty. And another thing I need to do is I need to make a correction, I guess, from the last episode, which was all about Britney Spears, because my sister Andrea was listening to the show, and she says that I was a much bigger Britney fan than I let on in that episode. And my theory is that my love for NSYNC erased my memory of my Britney fandom for some reason, because I don't remember being a diehard, but she claims I was, and agrees that once NSYNC came along, that kind of changed. But apparently I was a diehard Britney fan at one point, even though I'd never gone to a concert. So I'll trust her on this. I just felt I needed to correct it because she was like, "What, are you kidding me? You loved Britney." Apparently I loved Britney and didn't show it enough in the last episode. So there's that for you. And the last thing I need to mention, even though it's not Disney, theme park fans in general need to check this out. Do you know where I'm going, Kyle? I'm going to Beijing, Universal Studios Beijing. I do not typically watch ride-through videos, but I'm not getting to Beijing anytime soon, so I had to check out the Jurassic World Adventure Ride. Did you watch this?
No, I haven't. I think I overheard a conversation about it, but that's about it.
Okay. There is a full-sized Indominus Rex animatronic that chases your ride vehicle, and it's amazing and mind-blowing. And if you're a fan of practical rides, you need to watch this video. I will include a link in the show notes, even though it's not Disney. It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. And if this thing continues to run, folks over at the Disco Yeti need to give these Universal Beijing engineers a call and figure that out, because there's no reason this thing should work regularly every day, 365 days a year. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'll leave it at that.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's really, 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 really good. Alrighty, Kyle. Well, I'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks with more Disney news.
Look forward to it.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think of Genie Plus and all of the changes coming to the FastPass system? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569 and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. If you didn't listen yet, be sure and check out last week's episode where it was all about pop icon Britney Spears and her work with Disney. And next week, the time has finally come. I'll share my thoughts about my Avengers Campus experience. Can you believe it? A Marvel-filled episode. The easiest way to make sure you don't miss any of the magic is by subscribing to Disney Coast to Coast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Wherever you search, don't forget, it's Disney with a Z, Coast to Coast. This episode has been executive produced by Robert Scontrino. Gain rewards like Robert by visiting patreon.com/Disney with a Z, CTC. That link, plus the DCTC hotline and some free gifts from me to you, can all be found in this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. This podcast is part of the DePodcast Network. Learn more about this show, plus find more quality and entertaining podcasts at DePodcastNetwork.com. That's DEPodcastNetwork.com.